This stone has always carried an otherworldly, liminal energy. In folk magic, it was sometimes left at crossroads to call upon spirits of the land. It's seen as a witch's compass, protecting travelers in wild places where the veil between worlds feels thin.
Welcome to the Crystal Library, a pocket-sized portal into the magical, mysterious, and sometimes misunderstood world of crystals. I'm your host, Ashleigh, and each week I'll guide you as we explore one enchanting stone, its history, lore, healing properties, and one easy way to invite its magic into your everyday life. Whether you're crystal curious or deep into the woo, this is your space to learn, explore, and expand your connection to the mineral realm, one glittering gem at a time. So let's open the library and see which crystal wants to speak today.
I am Ashleigh. Cheers. I've got a little espresso here, and welcome to another episode in my Season of the Witch Crystal Library series. Today, we're stepping into the forest shadows, breathing in the damp moss, and sinking into the earthly magic of Moss Agate, a stone that's both grounding and mysterious, practical and mystical, and one that witches have worked with for centuries. Moss agate isn't your flashy, sparkling showpiece crystal. It's subtle, quiet, and deeply tied to the heartbeat of the earth. With its moss-like inclusions, it looks like a tiny forest sealed inside a stone, like you're holding an enchanted woodland in your hand. It's the perfect crystal to explore this spooky season because moss agate carries the energy of liminal places, the shadowy forests, the wild crossroads, the fertile soil where death and rebirth dance together. And I have a little piece of moss agate here. It is not very clear how this looks on. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm sorry. It looks very dark. I'm not sure. I think I have some more moss agate somewhere. It is such a beautiful stone, really. And I'm so excited to share it with you today. So I'm going to have a little sip of my espresso. This cup is from my grandmother's kitchen. Her and I always used to drink her black Folgers coffee together at her little kitchen table out of these cups. And when she passed away, of course, we were going through her things, and I said I wanted one of these cups because it reminds me of her. And so I drink my little espresso out of it all the time, and I just absolutely adore it. Okay, so let's start with some history and folklore. Moss agate was treasured in the ancient world. Farmers in Greece and Rome carried it as a talisman to ensure fertile crops and abundant harvests. In the Middle Ages, people believed moss agate could protect them against storms and misfortune while traveling through dark forests. Midwives used it as a birthing stone, helping to ease pain, protect mother and child, and ensure a safe delivery. It has long been associated with growth, fertility, and prosperity. In fact, it was sometimes buried in fields to bless the soil, encourage healthy crops, and call in agricultural abundance. This makes it especially potent for witches who work with gardening, green magic, or herbal medicine. Shout out, Kelly! Do you have any moss agate? Kelly's my friend that I met on my recent Salem retreat, and she is all about plant magic. And so I'm wondering if she's also a fan of moss agate. And because of its deep connection to nature, moss agate is also linked to fae energy and land spirits. It's said to help you communicate with nature divas, dryads, and elemental guardians of the forest. Witches through time have used it to honor the green world and to enhance the power of herbal remedies. Some traditions even tie moss agate to harvest goddesses like Vesta, goddess of the hearth and of cultivated land, reminding us that this stone holds both the magic of the field and the magic of the home fire. Now, let's ground this a little bit in science. Moss agate is actually a form of chalcedony, a cryptocrystalline quartz, but it isn't a true agate because it's lacking banding. Instead, what makes moss agate special are its dendritic inclusions, iron or manganese oxides that form moss-like patterns inside the stone. These green fern-like shapes look like branches, forests, or even tiny landscapes frozen in time. It typically appears as clear or milky white chalcedony with green inclusions, but sometimes you'll find specimens with bluish tones, deep dark green, or even red spots. Its Mohs hardness is 6.5 to 7, which means it's durable enough for jewelry, but still needs mindful care. Its crystal structure is trigonal, just like quartz. Major sources include India, Brazil, Uruguay, Central Europe, and the United States, especially Montana, where some of the most beautiful moss agates are found. Metaphysical properties. This is where moss agate really shines. According to Judy Hall's Crystal Bible, moss agate is a stone of new beginnings. It's said to refresh the soul and help you see the beauty in everything you behold. It's excellent for reducing sensitivity to environmental pollutants, making it a powerful ally for those who feel drained by modern life. It's considered a birthing crystal, supporting midwives and easing the intensity of childbirth. It's also incredibly beneficial for anyone in agriculture, gardening, or botany. Basically, anyone whose hands touch the soil. Spiritually, moss agate is known as a stone of wealth and abundance. It helps attract prosperity and encourages slow, steady growth, like planting seeds and patiently tending them until they bloom. Athena Parakis of Crystalpedia even describes moss agate's message as, "Don't lose faith. All that you long for is coming to fruition. Water your garden a little bit each day, and you'll be surprised at how lush it can grow." On a personal level, moss agate helps release blockages and spiritual fetters. It builds self-esteem, strengthens positive traits, and helps people find balance between head and heart. For intellectual folks, it opens up intuition. For intuitive souls, it grounds and channels their energy into practical forms. It's also a wonderful stone for emotional balance. It reduces fear, stress, and deep-seated trauma. It promotes trust, optimism, and hope, making it especially supportive for people struggling with depression. Physically, it is said to speed recovery, counteract long-term illness, reduce inflammation, and support the immune system. It's even associated with regulating blood sugar, preventing dehydration, and cleaning and cleansing the circulatory and elimination systems. Now, for the witchy side of moss agate. This stone has always carried an otherworldly liminal energy. In folk magic, it was sometimes left at crossroads to call upon spirits of the land. It's seen as a witch's compass, protecting travelers in wild places where the veil between worlds feels thin. Because of its mossy, earthy inclusions, it connects us to fae magic and elemental energies. It can be worked with during moonlit rituals to strengthen communication with nature spirits, enhance weather magic, and even support cloud bursting, the folk practice of influencing rain. For Samhain and spooky season, moss agate is a beautiful stone for grounding ancestor work. It can be placed on your altar with natural offerings like leaves, acorns, or dried moss to invite the wisdom of both the land and the ancestors. Correspondences, colors, clear, milky white, green, sometimes with bluish inclusions or red spots. Element is earth, chakras, root, and heart. Zodiac, Virgo, Taurus, Gemini. Planetary energy, Venus and Earth. Tarot tie-in, the Empress for growth, fertility, nature's abundance, and the Hermit, forest wisdom and introspection. Crystal companions, citrine for abundance, green aventurine for luck, labradorite for mystical insight, peridot for growth, and rose quartz for love. Here is a ritual you can try this season. Forest Shadow Connection Ritual. Take a moss agate with you to a quiet outdoor space. Ideally a forest, but even your backyard will do. At dusk, when the light is shifting, sit with the stone in your hand. Place it at the base of a tree or keep it against your heart. Breathe deeply and visualize roots growing from your body into the soil. As you connect, ask the spirits of the land, your ancestors, or the fae to share their wisdom. Listen for whispers in the rustle of the leaves or visions that come to you in stillness. When you return home, journal any messages or imagery that came through. You can also place moss agate on your Samhain altar, surrounded by moss, twigs, and dried herbs, as an offering to the spirits of earth and growth. Moss agate is subtle but powerful. It doesn't scream for attention, but works quietly like the forest floor, full of mystery, life, and regeneration. It teaches us that magic is everywhere in soil, in moss, in the patient cycles of nature. It's a stone of hope, growth, and connection, perfect for this season when we honor the shadows and the ancestors, but also prepare for the seeds of renewal. So if you're feeling called to moss agate, carry it with you on a walk, place it in your garden, or work with it under the moon. Let it remind you that even in the darkest times, growth is always happening beneath the surface. That's all for today's Crystal Library entry on moss agate. I hope you feel inspired to work with this earthy, magical stone during your own witches season. If you loved this episode, don't forget to share it with a fellow crystal witch. And I'll see you next time in the library. Bye.
Thank you for visiting the Crystal Library. I hope today's stone offered just the magic you needed. If you loved this episode, share it with your favorite mystic and tag me on Instagram at mystical.mama.ash or at Bid Crystal Energy Podcast. And if you're feeling generous, leave a 5-star rating and review. It helps this magic reach more curious souls. Until next time, keep your crystals close and your intuition closer.